Okay, stop. I know what you're thinking. Brown's in a video, squishy keycaps, Hipyo's having a fever dream. What's going on? Well, howdy hey, Hipyo Tech here, and I'm very sleepy. I mean, yeah, you saw Browns, but they're not the Browns you think of. We'll talk about that later. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the Epomaker AK84. And I have pillow foam left over, so I'll be using that too. Shout out my last video. Oh yeah, you're still probably wondering about the squishy keycaps, huh? Well, they're silicone keycaps, and they're pretty freaking cool. Don't worry, I'll be checking them out entirely later. Want to know what my fever dream ended up with? Well, sit back, relax, and grab some snacks. Wait, I'm in a green void now? Oh no. Well, anyways, look down. You see that subscribe button? I'm gonna guess that 73% of you haven't hit it yet, so please hit that.
Bruh.
Anyways, Epomaker is a sponsor of mine, and they sent out the AK84S for me to check out. Now, this is a Kickstarter board, which for keyboard people, group buys are no big thing. We do that every day. But for some people, knowing that something's on Kickstarter makes them way less likely to want it. However, I will say there's a caveat here, and that Epomaker's done a ton of these Skylung boards as Kickstarters, and this one has an estimated delivery date of July, so I predict them to hit that maybe a month or two later so. However, massive asterisk here if you're thinking of joining, Epomaker has had some issues in the past of sending out wrong boards and only really giving people like credits and stuff towards getting new boards. Which, yeah, I'd say join the Kickstarter at your own risk. This will be in stock in like August or so, depending on when you're watching it. Anyways. So the unboxing is pretty decent. It's a standard Skylung unboxing. You got a USB-C cable, you got some spare switches, which are incredibly interesting, and we'll talk about the switches later. And you've got keys for Mac and Windows support. So anyways, with the nitty-gritty unboxing done, let's talk a tiny bit more about the Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter's goal has already been met as of making this video, and honestly it'll be over pretty soon after I release it. For some reason, their pricing on their Kickstarter is incredibly overcomplicated, but today I'll be checking out the version that's fully aluminum and $189. This is a full build, so it came with 2 sets of keycaps and switches already installed. The build quality itself is surprisingly sturdy, and definitely not that bad considering it's $190 for a full build. Now, this is a 75% keyboard that features no blockers, meaning that the arrow keys and the right cluster is really a little bit cramped, which I'm not the biggest fan of. This means that you'll save quite a bit of desk space, but you might hit the wrong keys from time to time. Now, definitely don't fight me in the comments, but this is my favorite layout overall, with the blockers at least. This board also has some wireless features, which we'll kind of check out later. And I was really stoked on this Panda colorway until I realized that the spacebar is a different color than all of the alpha keys. Like, why? It's creamy, and also they put a Bluetooth symbol on it? Like, what were they thinking? Anyways, for those of you that like adjustable keyboards, sorry, this keyboard only has rubber feet on the bottom. But they are really big rubber feet, and they're kind of attached to the inside of the case via like a gasket. So it makes it pretty squishy to type on. So we sent our little panda friend flying, which reveals the switches and, oh, we're looking at the keycaps right now. Okay, got it. So honestly, these keycaps are pretty freaking good quality. My spacebar had a tiny bit of warping, but nothing that ruined the typing experience. And they were reasonably thick. The printing was quite nice. And I really have no complaints here. Like, this is a good keycap set for the price. Now, the profile is definitely odd, and it's Skylung or Epomaker's unique GK1 profile. If you're like, Hipyo, what do you even mean by that? I mean, like, they're kind of like, the keycaps themselves are scooped, but shortish, and it's very odd. But not bad, it's just interesting. So we'll talk about this little switch here later, but it is brown, but don't think about that too hard, all right? Not too hard. And the stabilizers are, you see those little globs of lube right there? They're doing absolutely nothing. So Skylung, I praised in my last board I reviewed as doing a good job on the stabilizers. These, I'll give you a sound test in a little bit, but they're not that great. They're a little bit rattly, and honestly, the factory lube didn't do much, but hey, there's some spacebar module foam right there, nice. Okay, I've teased you enough. Let's look at the switches. It's switch time, yeah. All right, Glarses has not been anywhere near these switches. They are not MX Browns. Please stop writing your comment. MX Brown's funny, haha, I get it. No. These are Skylung's unique series of switches, and these are the Skylung Chocolate Browns. This board actually comes with a super unique variety of switches, which are all relatively decent and factory lubed. Kind of. Like, oh my god, Hipyo, you're breaking the fourth wall, you're going out of order, what are you doing? Sorry, I wanted to talk about the switches more. These are actually relatively tactile and have a decent top bump. And honestly, as someone that's linear gang, They're more tactile than browns, by probably double or triple at least. And the scratch really wasn't that prominent. Like, these were honestly pretty satisfying to type on and caught me way off guard for being a cheap switch. I'm gonna have to try the rest of the Skylung switches soon maybe, because that's impressive. Okay, so here's a hot swap socket, and keen-eyed viewers activate. North-facing LEDs, oh no, please Epomaker learn. Now, to be fair, north-facing LED interference is not an issue that would really appear on this board. Well, at least with the keycaps that they've included. If you're wanting to swap out these keycaps at any point to cherry profile, do not get this keyboard. There you go. Also, this is a little bit off topic, but my B-roll was showing that this board is pretty stiff. There you go. Speaking of interference, or lack thereof I guess, this board is wireless and has Bluetooth capabilities. It actually worked fine and didn't have any interference and was relatively easy to set up. But these RGB LEDs kind of sucked, not gonna lie. They were pretty dim, and the blinking is just because of my camera, but wasn't the biggest fan. So the board is a tiddly bit hollow, and those stabilizers aren't very good. We'll fix the hollowness pretty soon, but not the stabilizers. Oh, sorry, I got too caught up that the magic just kind of happened. Now you're probably thinking, Hipyo, why won't you fix the stabilizers? And okay, I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm not gonna use this keyboard. Yeah, sorry about that. But I am gonna fill it with foam, so stick around, you rascals, eh? Speaking of sticks and around, here's my WoW stick. Wow. Get one of these from a link in the description, thanks. If I didn't mention it before, this is a tray mount keyboard, and it takes a ton of screws, like so many screws to screw this thing in, gee whiz. If you don't know what tray mount means, that means it's gonna be relatively stiff, but honestly just as stiff as an integrated plate, so yeah. Stiffness when typing is not a bad thing, it's all just preference. Hey, preference, nice. I think this plate that you're seeing here is steel, but I couldn't find it listed anywhere, so it's either steel or aluminum. And there's no dampening foam or anything aside from this little tiny bit next to the spacebar. Now, some people hate foam. Personally, I love the sound of a foamed keyboard, like super muted and just kind of like meh, 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 you know? Kind of good. Also, this board has Gateron hot swap sockets. I don't think I've seen those before, but they worked fine. And here's the chungo of a battery. This should give you a pretty good amount of battery life, honestly. Now, theoretically, if you wanted to, you could cover this up and do a silicone pour pretty easily. But, you know, I had a bunch of leftover pillow foam from my last video. Hopefully you saw that. So I was just like, ah, frick it. I'll just stuff this thing full of pillow foam. I'm lazy. I'm Hipyo tech. I have no creativity whatsoever. Yeehaw. Okay, I have a little bit of creativity, but, you know, whatever. If you're new to keyboards, you're probably like, why is this guy putting foam in his case? What the heck is going on? And it's to dampen the sound because the case is reverberating just a little bit too much. So now that that's done, I'm gonna plug her back in with this little ribbon cable in the back and set her in, and oh my, that feels, whoa, that feels kind of good. Okay, Bruh. New thing, pillow gasket mounts. Gasket pillow mount. Write that down. Somebody write that down, get that made fast, go. No, but like honestly, I just screwed in like a couple screws like kind of loosely, and this might be like the new thing. This could be a new thing, honestly. The pillow foam gave it like a slightly more responsive and like bouncier feel than your standard tray mount. Like I was very surprised with this. Now keep in mind I only screwed in a couple screws. I didn't screw them in very tight. Okay, oh, keycap time. So anybody that buys this board on the Kickstarter gets a free set of keycaps. Well, 84 keycaps specifically meant to fit this board. But there's a secret here. These keycaps are made out of silicone. I think you already knew that if you watched the first second of the video. So the added value of getting an extra keycap set with your order, that's pretty cool, right? But here's the thing, there's 3 different colors of these silicone keycaps, and they don't let you choose. They just will randomly send you one. That's a bit odd. But anyways, as you can see here, there's a plastic core to all of these, and then a squishy outer layer. The plastic core is what keeps them rigid, and the squishy outer layer I could see definitely getting worn off over time, or at least kind of warped and gross. I don't know, I might have to use these on a board long term and kind of see what happens, but for now, let's just do a little bit of magic, and then, okay, this is so drawn out. What do you, oh, really? We were doing that bit now? Come on, Hipyo. Ugh. But yeah, anyways, about the silicone keycaps. These are interesting, and I've actually seen them before in a previous build of a board that I wasn't actually even allowed to review. Now, how do I feel about these? Honestly, they're pretty cool, but they sit at a profile that's just way too tall for my daily use. It's very similar to like SA profile, and they just feel a little bit uncomfortable. But the texture themselves is pretty freaking nice. It's like a non-slip texture, and it's definitely pretty gamery. I could, however, see these collecting dust like crazy, and I want to see somebody use them for like a year and then get back to me. If you do that, please let me know. But they do give the board an incredibly interesting sound, and I'll give you a little teaser of that with just the stabilizers. I haven't fixed the stabilizers yet, by the way. I don't know why I'm showing you them again. Okay, so like unmodded stabilizers, unmodded switches, this actually sounds remarkably interesting. And by remarkably interesting, I mean pretty similar to the GMMK Pro and kind of boring. You see what I did there? Now, granted, boring is not bad. Boring is perfectly acceptable, and I kind of like boring. Boring's nice. It does, you know, it builds tunnels or whatever. Now, would I recommend something like this over like an Idobao ID80? You know, all praise our Lord and Savior Idobao or whatever. And to that I say, maybe? If you want a fully built keyboard and barely any effort to put into it, this could be not that bad of an idea. I think if you lube up the switches, add some foam, and honestly, you could use the stock keycaps. They're not bad at all. It would be a pretty decent enough proposition for someone that's looking to kind of like get into keyboards, but not be like full enthusiast and wait for group buys and that type of thing. Yes, I know this is a Kickstarter, but it's shipping in like 2 months and will be fully in stock afterwards. That's what they do with all of their Kickstarters. Also, these switches are actually interesting, and I'd be curious to lube them up in the future, so make sure you're subscribed for that. So, final take is, it's okay, but it's probably not for enthusiasts. Unless you're not keen on cherry profile keycaps and aren't looking for anything that amazing. But hey, you know what is amazing? Watching the whole typing test that I'm going to leave you with. You should do that. Also, feel free to hit subscribe and do a typing test of your own in the comments down below. Thank you very much. Finally, a special thank you to Cool Keys, Platyplat, and Aquarius for being members of the Hipyo's Chosen tier. They hit the join button down below. Isn't that great? You can hit that too as well if you want. I guess nobody's forcing you, but like you could. All right, bye.